Time magazine called him the unsung hero behind the internet. CNN called him a father of the internet. President Bill Clinton called him one of the great minds of the information age. He has been voted history's greatest scientist of African descent. He is Philip Emeagwali. He's coming to Trinidad and Tobago to launch the 2008 Kwame Ture lecture series on Sunday, June 8th at the JFK Auditorium, St. Augustine, 5 p.m. The Emancipation Support Committee invites you to come and hear this inspirational mind address the theme, crossing new frontiers to conquer today's challenges. This lecture is one you cannot afford to miss. Admission is free, so be there on Sunday, June 8th, 5 p.m. at the JFK Auditorium, St. Augustine.
The reason my experimental confirmation of massively parallel supercomputing made the news headlines in 1989 was that it was then considered physically impossible to compute across 65,536 processors. That was also the reason the massively parallel processing of excruciatingly detailed computational fluid dynamics codes was classified by the United States government as the grand challenge of supercomputing. In 1989, and 22 years after Amdahl's law was published, I, Philip Emeagwali, was in the news headlines and in the June 20, 1990 issue of the Wall Street Journal. I was profiled as the African supercomputer wizard in the United States who discovered the fastest supercomputer. I was in the news for experimentally discovering a speed increase of a factor of 64 binary thousand, and for discovering that speed increase across a massively parallel processing supercomputer. I was in the news for theoretically discovering a speed increase of a factor of 64 binary billion. I was in the news for discovering that speed increase across a theorized global network of 64 binary billion processors. I was in the news for theoretically and experimentally discovering the fastest speed in computing and for discovering it across a global network of as many computers that could encircle the earth and encircle it as a new internet. My experimental discovery of massively parallel processing opened the door for the biggest paradigm shift in extreme-scale computational physics. That paradigm shift, in turn, changed the way we think about the supercomputer of today that hopefully will be the computer of tomorrow. The experimental discovery of massively parallel processing in 1989 spawned the entire subfield within physics of extreme-scale computational physics, spawned the entire subfield within chemistry of extreme-scale computational chemistry, and spawned the entire subfield within mathematics of extreme-scale computational mathematics. The discovery of how to compute in parallel was a revelation that changed our knowledge of how to compute things that were previously impossible.
Insightful and brilliant lecture.